Yeah, now.
Now
All
we
right,
can
there
hear
we
you.
go. All right, yeah, no,
Yeah.
my audio DAC decided that was the time that he was gonna just go like nah, as in just go like no, and not work. So good evening, everybody. Friday night is What If night, and we've got a small selection of people from you. We have our resident round tablists. We have Haverok,
Hello.
and we have Sophie B.
Hello.
And we are here to present some what ifs to you, and we're basically asking you your own what ifs. And if you want to have your what ifs read out, then you can leave a super chat or you can become a member. Either way supports the channel and is a good way for you all to be noticed because the chat does go by relatively quickly. And also, let's get the likes up here. Let's get our likes up past 100. You know, because we want to kind of get things going. But let's kick off. Again, super
Deal.
chat, leave that. Your what if will be read out, and as you have seen probably quite recently, they do get made into videos. So this is a perfect way and the ultimate way, ultimate Gohan way, to get your own idea made into a video. So let's first off kick off with JRC's What If Dr. Wheelo teamed up with Dr. Giro? My initial thoughts, because we had a look at these prior, is that this would be a good idea, an interesting idea, but I feel like it could easily fall foul of two major egos coming at odds at each other, and they would end up ultimately destroying themselves.
Yeah, they will try to get outplay each other in a conflict. Although they have different goals, but like especially when it will be like Jiro. Oh, I will destroy Son Goku. Will be like, oh, but I want Son Goku's body. You know
Mm. No, absolutely.
Well, I
that.
think Jiro could get behind that because it would technically destroy Son Goku, so to speak, if Wheelo overwrote his personality.
Maybe, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
But I think Jiro really wants Goku to kind of suffer, which takes a little
Yeah,
longer than Wheelo is
yeah,
interested in.
yeah.
Mm. No, I would say that's pretty reasonable. And there's multitudes that it's not as cut and dry as you may think. Definitely. Let's see. JLC again. What if when King Piccolo wished for eternal youth, Kami also became younger thanks to the link? And I think we actually had something clear cut about this.
Yeah, like it would give King Piccolo some massive problems, I imagine.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I think Haverok said Kami would end up basically having a big advantage, and yeah, Kami at his strongest probably would have been able to take out Piccolo, and yeah, definitely.
at the very least, they'd be equally met. That like King Piccolo's entire plan would be really thrown off the rails because if
Mm.
Kami can match him blow for blow, then the simple fact that he has more allies makes victory more assured.
Oh wow, we just got an £85 donation from the Nerd King.
Wow.
Thank you so much, Nerd King.
Wow!
You are truly the
Thank
king of the
you.
You are
nerds.
the king. You are the king of the. And I've got to put my nerd. Yeah, yeah, you get that, and yeah, just thank you so much. And they say thank you for R and your other what if stories. They are lovely and make my day. Well, we do our best.
Oh.
And I've actually actioned something with Nexus, a special Christmas comic detailing everything up from part one of Raditz to where we are in R&R. So it's almost like a cheat sheet, Spark Notes for R&R. So if you don't know what it is, here's a quick comic to get you up to speed. And there's at launch and Raditz's wedding, our friend Isabella came up with a comic, and what happens there is inspired by that. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that a lot. Let's just say that launch takes the reins. Let's just say that
I
one.
love Isabella's stuff.
I know.
Yeah.
Isabella Foleno,
So
check her out on
good.
DeviantArt. Absolutely great.
Please do. She's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much, Nerd King. Very much obliged. We shall keep on doing what we do. Also, check out some special ranch holiday merch coming up, and I'm looking forward to it because it's done by an artist called Sir Baisa. Lots of big and muscly. Muscly ranch. I'm looking forward to that. That'll be awesome. Strong.
You got to have the muscles. They got to be strong.
6-foot tall ranch. I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be great. Paparazzi. Hey, it's Paparazzi, everybody.
Paparazzi, the best what if question asker.
Now I've got to make a soundbite for that. It's Paparazzi, everybody. But they say, what if Kami died with Daimon and Junior was separate? So basically, Piccolo was his own thing. He wasn't like linked to. He wasn't linked to Kami.
I say Junior would win the tournament, and it might end badly.
There's also another scenario that we might have to consider, and I only just thought of this, and this is only if you want to accept that Z is going to happen, as if like Toriyama already had it in his mind, which he didn't, but let's just say. If Kami dies and there's no more Guardian of the Earth, Popo might very well do exactly as he did in Dragon Ball Z and say, hey, I need you guys to come to Kami's spacecraft and travel back to Kami's homeworld to wish him back with new Dragon Balls, or else get a replacement, because Goku's not prepared for it. He's not going to be able to train for it.
Yeah.
And so we might, over the course of that time skip where Goku's normally training, we might get an early visit to Namek.
Yeah.
Goku training with Nail. That's a cool idea. That's a cool idea.
Ooh.
That would be very interesting. Also, because he'd be on the planet with like Guru and stuff like that, he may very well even consider getting his potential unlocked at that time.
No, that's very true. And Goku's potential, oh my days.
Yeah.
Wow, that there's not enough time in the day to see how strong that would be.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's make a note of that.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Make a note of that. George J. What if Alibu was on King Kai's planet during the Saiyan saga? Would his presence have improved Goku's training by much? Well, if he is as strong as he is pretty much in the Otherworld Tournament saga, yeah, Alibu would pretty much be an asset to Goku. Not to mention for the fact that I think Alibu's awesome. So more Alibu would absolutely
Maybe
Masako has a deep love for Alibu.
Well, no, Alibu's just nice. He's just a big, strong Greek god, and he's just nice. Yeah.
Maybe Olivu, would ensure that, Yamcha and the others would get a proper training at King Kai,
And then if the fillers to be believed, Yamcha will win against Alibu. I love
it. Oh my gosh. There's
that legendary 6 degrees of separation. Is that Alibu was beaten by Yamcha, who was meant to be just as strong as Paikon, and Paikon kicked Super Perfect Cell's ass. So does that mean that Buu Saga Yamcha, therefore, is now the strongest person in the universe?
I wish. Honestly, that was one of my favorite bits of filler arc, and it's so sad to me that it's not, canon.
Yeah, I know. It's sad. Red Dragon Force 2. With the end of Dragon Ball Super English dub happening this weekend, are you doing any videos on your thoughts, comparisons, etc. regarding the dub version specifically? I'm going to be honest with you guys, I've not been watching the dub. I've really not been watching the dub, and because it's only just come out in the UK on Pop Network. And I don't know, I've just not really been geared up. I think what I'm probably going to do is buy the Blu-ray or DVDs and get them all, or wait until there's a complete collection, and just go straight through them. That means I can have the experience start to finish in a period that's relatively quick, and I can see the progression of the dub actors. So that's my own personal opinion. I'm waiting until they all come out, and the same thing for the manga. Really, I'm wanting to wait until it's done, and then I'll go through it because I want to go. Yeah,
There's only one arc of the dub that really stuck with me, and that's because it had its own sort of historical gimmick to it, and that was the Potafu arc. Because in the dub for the Potafu arc, they brought back Brian Drummond from the Ocean dub to play Copy Vegeta.
Yeah.
And it's the one thing where it's look, Potafu is generally considered filler. It is not an important arc to the overall scale of everything else. No. But if you're gonna watch the dub, watch the Potafu arc purely for the fact that Brian Drummond gets to return as Vegeta, and it's amazing.
I know, it is pretty good. And when he was at SeiyuCon the other day, Haverok and I watched that. He was genuinely proud of that. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, you definitely got that vibe. But back to Paparazzi again, and he goes,
But Masako!
Dragon Ball and Z's villains mirror each other. Evil Emperor Pilar, Frieza, Red Ribbon Army androids, Unsealed Diva Piccolo, Boo. Well, congratulations, Paparazzi. You win the Observation Award.
Yes.
And I'm saying, that is, yes, you are correct. That is indeed very true. So thank you very much for your patronage and stating this out. So, thank you. Paparazzi again. What if Ox and Chi-Chi and Hercule and Videl were swapped? So basically, we were trying to pass this just before we came on. Haverok was assuming this is role reversal. So basically, if Ox King was the champion of the world, and Hercule was the Ox King. So I don't think Chemical Chance would have been different. Videl's personality probably would have been always on the more tomboyish side, instead of Chi-Chi being quite demure and then becoming quite tough. But actually, now that I think about it, with Chi-Chi never meeting Goku prior, I think Chi-Chi would end up being quite demure all the way through to her adulthood. She would have not been a fighter. Maybe.
Yeah, I think the only real differences would be coming from the swapping of Chi-Chi and Videl.
Yeah.
Because without being the champion, and having that sort of arrogance to him, I think that Hercule would be in a situation where he would just, he'd be a lot like just the Ox King was, proud of his position as King of Fire Mountain. Ox King, he'd be champion of the world, but he's a generally pretty sweet guy, so I think he'd be pretty nice about that.
Yeah.
But Chi-Chi never really wanted to be a fighter. She did because she wanted to appeal to Goku as a potential wife later on. But Videl, I think that if Videl and Chi-Chi's lives were swapped, right? And Videl wound up becoming the woman who attached herself to Goku. I think that Gohan would have grown up just purely a fighter. I think he would have gotten a pretty basic general education, and Videl and Goku would have both been fighting parents.
Yeah.
But
The real question.
I want to read a book. No books.
No, that's true. But back to Paparazzi.
Also, by the way, it's really weird to talk about it that way.
And Paparazzi comes, what if Krillin was Namekian? Well, let's just keep that very short.
Well, you see, he is already a Namekian. He is one of those scourge that is known as albino Namekians!
Yeah.
Next question. What if future Goku used his one day back to help?
But yeah, what if future Goku uses one day back to help? I thought it was actually that was a good point, initially, in theory. Yeah, future Goku did have a one day back on Earth to help.
Yeah, but Sophie had a very good point about
Sophie, do point it out.
Yeah. One of the things that I brought up when we were kind of discussing the questions is that one of the things about Baba bringing people back for a day is that she brings back warriors, she brings back fighters. And one of the reasons future Goku was never brought back after he died of the heart disease is because it counts, when it comes to the Dragon Ball's magic, as death by natural causes. So they couldn't wish him back after he died of heart disease. So I feel that Fortune Teller Baba's would be much the same thing, because not only did he die of natural causes, he didn't get to die in battle like a warrior, which is the entire premise of her magic, is bringing back a warrior for a single day,
Yeah. No, okay. I would definitely agree with that. As in, there are some, when you initially hear it, you think, well, yeah, why isn't he? But then when you actually start to think about it, as Sophie put it, you just think, yeah, okay, that makes a bit more sense. Because otherwise, they would have done it already. But yeah. Paparazzi again. What if Goku Black was Bardock? That would have been a twist and a half, but the Bardock, that would have been oversaturation of Bardock.
Bardock is so oversaturated in everything. Stop giving him stuff.
The
He doesn't
Xenoverse
need
2
it.
premise, that was...
He's already dead. Stop beating him. Just let him be
It's like
dead.
that Simpsons quote, "Stop! Stop! He's already dead." But, you know, I mean, I will say his thing as the Masked Saiyan in Xenoverse 2 was pretty neat. That was cool, but if that had been there and then, that would have been cool. Super Saiyan 3 Bardock?
No.
No. But Kenshin 491. What if this video was sponsored? Well, it kind of is sponsored by your gracious patronage. So thank you very much for, coming along and sharing your what if ideas. So
This video is sponsored by you.
it's sponsored by you. Yeah, you right there. You're sitting down, or you may be at one of those standing up desks. I'm not going to judge. Personal
We see you.
preferences.
Don't
You
hide.
know.
We see you. We see you.
Okay, JRC. What if Shenron could always grant 3 wishes in Dragon Ball? Well, one thing's for sure. If that had been the case, especially from Z, they could have brought Goku back. They could have also done something about the Saiyans. Like cause their ship to go off course, delay their arrival or something. They would have been able to try and, buy themselves some time. At the very least. But, yeah. Having 3 wishes in Dragon Ball all the time, that would be too much, I think. I think it's good that Shenron originally had 1. Because they didn't need to do as much, and it just felt a bit more like, what's the choice going to be? Like, what is the wish going to be? But so otherwise, you're just going to have, well, we could do this, we could do that, we could do this.
It kind of kills some
Yeah.
of the stakes. Even with the limitations,
Yeah.
it still kills a lot of the stakes.
The stakes were already quite low in Dragon Ball, so why make them even lower?
Yeah.
So I don't think that would happen, but the one thing that would happen is that things would be ultimately very convenient. Absolutely.
And you know, in original Dragon Ball, when they found the wish, basically everyone gets a wish.
Yeah. You get a wish. Okay. Nick Wolf. Since Piccolo Senior never technically offed Roshi, what if the latter trained with King Kai afterwards? What if Cell and 5 Juniors did the Super Saiyan God ritual? So, Piccolo Senior never technically offed Roshi. What if the latter trained with King Kai? Oh, okay, so basically if Roshi went to King Kai. But I don't think Roshi's done enough to keep his body. It's never really been confirmed whether he did or not.
And even if he did get to keep his body, because in Dragon Ball, he dies against King Piccolo because of the failed Mafuba. It uses all of his energy, and he passes on because of that. But let's say that he got to keep his body because he was trying to be heroic. He didn't necessarily succeed, but he was trying. I don't think he was in good enough shape back then to make the journey to King Kai's planet along Snake Way in a decent amount of time before he wound up wished back anyway. Because that's one thing people forget, because of later Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super and Goku just being able to teleport to and from King Kai's planet, is that you have to travel Snake Way, and Snake Way is an incredibly long distance.
Yeah, well, absolutely. So that means you basically... Things took a long time to get done by just, running down Snake Way. So, yeah. I don't think, as you said, Roshi would have not really had the chance to get to King Kai's in time. But yeah, Anime Guy 01. What if Bardock went Super Saiyan after Dodoria offed his teammates? Well, I mean, to be honest, that is a very good reason as to why he would go Super Saiyan, but I'm guessing that at that point in time, he just was not strong enough. Or it just was not a big enough reason.
And if you believe the whole S-Cells things, he also wasn't,
He didn't have enough
S-Cells, and he wasn't calm enough. He was in calm enough. He was in too much distress to focus that.
Yeah, so a lot of stress.
Saiyan midichlorians.
I'm guessing probably...
Still make more sense than regular midichlorians if you think about it.
Yeah, but people really don't care about that. That video I made about it really bombed. People did not care. People did not want to know. Anyway, Maggie Evans here. What if Beerus had assigned Universe 6 and Champa Universe 7? Well, Haverok.
Haven't we done this?
What if the roles were reversed?
Haven't we done this? I think we either planned it. I think we might have it shelved. I think you got lost because I'm sure we planned this. I'm sure we talked about this.
We've planned something. Anyway, guys, let's get the likes over 100. We're at 73 right now, so let's pump it up some more.
If we haven't done this, I will find it and I will get it out of shelf and you will find out.
Okay.
Pretty soon.
Oh, Nick Wolf says, what about the Cells, the Juniors, and Super Saiyan God Ritual? A little elaboration there. Thanks, Nick.
Yeah.
Basically, I don't think they're pure heart enough. Because Cell is meant to be like made of like quite a lot of malevolent people. And hey, we're over 100 likes already. Nice. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think in terms of that...
I think that, you know, the whole pure heart is a little bit BSy, but the point is, I don't think they are Saiyan enough to
yeah,
do
no,
that.
they're saying components probably at most
Because
fit.
guys, remember about one little thing, like humans can breed goats that produce spider webs instead of milk, and that's a fact. We have goats that do that, but they are still
Yeah.
goats. They are not goats with eight legs. And with Cell, he has some DNA of Saiyans and other races, but he's still a Bugman.
Yeah.
He's not a hybrid. He's a
Configuration
Bugman
stuff.
that happens to have DNA from human Saiyans and Frieza race.
Anyway, Master Riku. What if Kid Goku's first wish was to have his parents brought back to life and be with him? Kid Goku's first wish, they've been dead too long. Basically, in Dragon Balls, you have to be dead less than a year if you want to be brought back, as well as not die from natural causes.
Well, and in the original Dragon Ball, you could have your death have been longer than a year, but one of the things that they actually point out in the OG Dragon Ball that they kind of gloss over in all future iterations is that the body doesn't disappear, and you had to make sure that it didn't rot by preserving it. Furthermore, not only did he not know his parents, the person that he loved, that he knew, that raised him, was Grandpa Gohan.
Yeah.
So why would he even he probably wouldn't even think about the concept of having parents.
Yeah.
Because all he ever knew was his grandpa. Like I see this all the time with the whole like what if he wished Bardock back? What if he wished Gine back? Or what if he wished his parents back? What if he wanted to meet his parents? And it's like Goku wouldn't want to meet his parents. He had his parent, and his parent was Gohan.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, basically he didn't need to. And granted, even if they were, they suffocate again in space.
Yeah.
So yeah, he wouldn't even know that they suddenly died again. But yeah, anyway. Nick Wolf. What if the lack of animal people in Dragon Ball is just the Mandela effect? Also, follow up on Star Danger, Hop and Sorrel, Eleven's Cat and Bunny as guest party members. I'm not quite sure how to pass that.
So I don't know if the implication is Mandela effect for our universe or if it's Mandela effect for their universe, but I think the implication here is that because the Mandela effect is basically when your mind shifts to a parallel, things are slightly different. So the assumption I'm going to presume that the meaning of this question is what if the reason why there's less anthropomorphic animal characters is because the universe we're watching is actually a parallel to the original Dragon Ball universe, and thus in this universe there are less anthropomorphic animal people because they never developed or something.
Okay. And Star Danger, Hop and Sorrel. I think because last time we were talking about the Toyo Danger having their own spin-off or something like that. And having
the Star Fox spin-off.
Having Star Danger and Hop and Sorrel as well as the party members. Basically being Crystal, pretty much. The Crystal of Danger team. But Paparazzi, well, again, I would say, that would be fairly interesting. Yeah, it's a different tack, certainly. Paparazzi, what if the Cell games were derailed by Zeno deciding to hold the Tournament of Power much earlier on May 26th, age 767, forcing Whis to wake Beerus early? Powers were not as interesting. Zeno probably would not have cared, pretty much. In short, Zeno would not care.
He wasn't interested in martial arts at this point.
No. Basically, you get the feeling like he goes through phases, and the phase that he was in just was not that at the time. So, but if it were, I think Cell would try and destroy him for getting in the way, and he would be probably erased. That's my best guess. Cell would get angry that he was getting in the way and not know about this person. Nobody would know. Nobody would have a clue. And yeah, I think Earth might have ended up being erased because nobody would have known what to do if we're not careful. Manifesto.
Yeah, probably.
Hey Masako, slice of life idea, similar to DC's Martian Manhunter. What if Piccolo found love in the form of a human girlfriend, initiated by the girl's curiosity of him, and Piccolo flustered? Lol.
Watch our what if panel from Sayako.
Yes, if you go and watch the video of what if we had a what if panel, we did get somebody contributing an idea about Universe 9 where there was a planet Namek where it were all female Namekians. Like
I saw that on the stream, where they're gender neutral, but they present female biology.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's interesting. Mostly just because of the simple fact it's interesting in a meta sense, because I get the idea that kind of like that like Piccolo or other Namekians really wouldn't care. They'd just be kind of like, huh, that's interesting. but they wouldn't think about it beyond that. But like everybody else would be like, oh my gosh, that Namekian is a girl.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it would have to take a lot of curiosity for basically them.
Yeah, and with human girl, like we answered that question in this video, but I would also add that for a human partner of either gender, Piccolo would be a very boring partner. Let's be honest with that.
Yeah, he would be.
Oh yeah. What have you been doing yesterday, honey? I was meditating. Something else?
I drank a lot of water.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
I've been busy napping. Meditating.
No, you're not meditating, you're napping.
I know the difference.
Super Michael 98. What if Turles was canon and turned good? Well, he wouldn't turn good because he's Dark Goku.
Okay, here's the thing about a movie villain turning good as well. Movie villains are already very difficult to work with because they're in a very, very weird part of the timeline, and that's only if you manage to figure out a way to canonize them. Turles, his entire gimmick, and this is part of the reason why as the first, like, quote-unquote bad Goku, he wasn't very good, is that he was pretty much just, he looks like Goku, but he's more or less this kind of Vegeta knockoff, way more than he is a Goku knockoff. If you take aspects of Vegeta and Raditz's personality and throw them in a blender, you wind up with Turles. And the thing about him turning good is that it's already been implied, because he's a low-class Saiyan, equivalent to Goku or Raditz, and he's implied to have already used the fruit of the Tree of Might to boost his power up to 19,000, which means that he's already committed like mass planetary destruction. He's killed an entire planet's worth of life.
Yeah,
because the Tree of Might has to be planted on a living planet with living people. So he's not exactly the most redeemable villain because he's committed planetary murder.
And so to redeem himself.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you wanted to argue, Raditz is the same way or anything like that, it's like Raditz was very low power. Like there's a huge difference there, and also he didn't actually do all that much frontlines fighting because he was this cunning coward character. Turles is very much portrayed kind of like this Vegeta,
And as we know from the last roundtable, he's actually stronger from Vegeta when we first see him.
Yes,
so.
very true.
Yeah, he's at 19.
Yeah. Okay, we got Grant Amelie or Emile. What if fusion, both forms of fusion, were discovered during the Cell games? There would have to be a very good explanation as to how they knew. But if they were, then we probably would have had Gogeta.
I mean, I imagine like this is one of those weird things because I imagine King Kai would know about fusion, but King Kai is King Kai. So
well, yeah, because he wouldn't have done it unless you asked. And Potara fusion, they didn't know about the Potara. They didn't know any Supreme Kais.
And Supreme Kais didn't knew themselves about the Potara, which was stupid, but it was there.
But yeah, that's the thing. So only Metamoran fusion. So probably if that did happen, we would have had Gogeta. We would have had Gogeta and...
Or V-Trunks.
Or Vetunks, yeah.
Vetrunks, yeah.
Oh, but yeah, that could be true. So it'd either be Gogeta or Vetunks, pretty much. The Super Saiyan 4 head. What if the gods and angels disguised themselves and hid their powers and walked among the peoples of the universe? Like the Greco-Roman gods. Oh! We got an idea for R&R. We have an idea. That's all we're saying. That's all we're saying. That's all we're saying. You're not going to know it. You're not going to know it until after you've found out. That's all I'm saying. We have plans. But all I'm going to say is it's possible. Angels have been known to have weirder powers. So you never know.
Whis has hobbies. Whis has hobbies, you know.
Whis has hobbies,
Yeah.
Tristan Poland, what if Half-Breed Saiyans couldn't go Super Saiyan? There would have been much less character plot progression, that's for sure. But I'm guessing S cells are transferable. Like, as we said in our midichlorian S cells video. If you went and actually watched it.
Go watch the midichlorian video. It didn't do very well.
yes, exactly.
Go and watch that, and you'll understand why really S cells, in fact, hybrids do have a better chance of becoming Super Saiyan and much more easily. So go and watch that.
But in all seriousness, guys, if they couldn't, probably, you know, like, we would get Mecha Frieza and King Cold versus Goku. And Goku would have to deal with Cell as well.
Yeah, no, Goku, basically everybody would have to wait for Goku.
Yeah. Yeah, if there was already a problem with Dragon Ball Z and Super, etc., turning into Goku time, the idea that only the pure-blooded Saiyans could become like Super Saiyans is very much even more limiting. So I find it a very unappealing what if idea.
And I think even Toriyama would find this non-appealing.
He'd be a bit like, oh boy, what was I thinking? Yeah, Super Michael 98. What if Zack was alive during Final Fantasy VII?
I could tell you right now, there would be a huge, huge ship war between the Clarith and the Zareth squads, and there would be a giant romantic love triangle. But in truth, I honestly am one of those people who believes that the narrative quite clearly showed that in Final Fantasy VII, Aerith had started to move on from Zack and was falling in love with Cloud before her untimely demise. So I think it would wind up being a sort of situation where Zack would have been kind of best bros with Cloud. Zack's the kind of chill guy who I could see him kind of getting over it if Aerith decided not to keep dating him and her and Cloud hooked up. And I think that Zack would probably wind up getting into like a relationship with some rando girl somewhere down the line, or else maybe hooking up with Tifa.
Okay.
But that's just me.
Well, that's fair, even though this wasn't Dragon Ball related.
I know, but I saw it and I had to give it.
Chucky Farley, what if the Boo saga never happened? After Gohan goes to high school, no Babidi, Dabara, or Boo. Not a lot would happen, probably. Also, go and check out our, go and check out What If Broly Turned Good to get a good idea. Like, basically, if the Boo saga never happened, yeah, Gohan would have probably just continued his studies. Non-discovered ultimate. We never had Majin Vegeta, and Goku probably would have stayed dead. That's the long and the short of it, really. Paparazzi again. What if the Steven Universe Gempire existed in Dragon Ball? Oh, that's a lot to unpack right there. But all I'm gonna be saying,
not up to date with my Stevens. So.
I'm up to season 1 if I'm honest, because I was waiting until it was all over. Then I found out this is season 6. And I'm just like, ah!
You could watch up to the movie and feel content. I
know, but I like to have a sit down binge and stuff like that. And this is the thing. On Amazon Prime, there is up to season 5, But I'm like, I'm not paying $10 for like 5 episodes. It's so bad. The pricing on Prime in the UK is so bad. Cartoon Network have bundled it terribly. I'm just waiting until Netflix gets more seasons, quite frankly. But
Hashtag Masako versus Amazon Prime.
Oh, just seriously, just pricing and stuff like that.
We are all old people, guys. We are old people.
Well, we're very tight-fisted when it comes to our streaming services, dang it. But yeah, Paparazzi, I'm afraid I don't really know enough about Steven Universe to give you a qualified answer for that, if I'm honest. But thank you very much anyway. Manifesto. Hey, there's some actual fan art of this. Good Raditz turning Great Ape and then blue while fighting Ali Lazar and TOP. Super Saiyan 4 used the Power Ball and Ranch protect them from transforming by Whis. Yes, I've seen the actual, I've seen some copies because the guy who commissioned it was at SeaCon and handed me some copies personally. Let's see. Do I actually have them? Yes, I do. I have it right here. Yeah, this one. If you're talking about this one. Done by art by Merrick Merimo and Kakorato. So it's like this one. Yeah, no, so that was really handy. I actually had that right next to the computer, so it was like, wow, okay.
That is so cool.
That was convenient. Yeah, I know all of those are really awesome. I mean, it's logically impossible, but it's still awesome. But yeah, no, Manifesto, good, very much good, well pointed out. Thank you. Hawkticus History Corner was brainstorming an SIDB fic when I came up with this. But what if Gohan had a little sister who was born like 2 years after, and who was more Saiyan like her in her personality? I envisage many issues. Well, Hawkticus, I'm guessing it could possibly happen that basically in terms of like the way that a personality is, you can be more Saiyan-like despite being only half Saiyan. Again, it's just chemical chance, really. But I feel like if she was more aggressive and more like a Saiyan, Gohan would probably have a bit more of a tough time trying to be the older brother. Definitely.
And
I also think. Oh, go ahead.
Go on. I will chime in after you're done.
Well, there's also the issue with, and a lot of the times parents try to keep this from happening, but it always winds up happening anyways. Is that if Gohan was the older sibling and Chi-Chi had already kind of sunken in on the idea of I'm going to raise this boy into a scholar, that would mean that the daughter would wind up more or less just simply by virtue of being the second child, would wind up spending a lot more time with Goku, meaning that she would wind up training more, she'd wind up doing a lot more of the more aggressive activities of sparring and all that other kind of stuff. And if she has that kind of rage problem, and even Gohan had that rage problem, and she wasn't tempering it the way that Gohan does, because his studies kind of helped with that as far as tempering it goes. If she wasn't tempering it the way that Gohan did, she would have that sort of really wild streak in her. And I think such a character could be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm always down for more women in Dragon Ball. They kind of get shafted.
That is very true. Okay.
She would butt heads with her mother a lot when she would.
Let's make a note of this. Yeah. Podo, I have a what if for your Broly what if. Since present Broly is Z Broly, what if future Broly is Super Broly? This way both versions can meet. Well, maybe. I've not come to an actual conclusion with that yet in part 7 of What If Broly Turned Good. Basically, in that one, Broly finds himself entombed in ice. Basically. So,
I actually had a question about that, Masako, because there's one little flub there. How did Broly wind up entombed in ice if Broly was never put in a situation where he would have been on that planet, and the entire plot of that movie didn't happen in that particular instance?
No, that's very true.
So how did Broly escape from the planet that got destroyed from the comet to go and land? Oh, I've gone cross-eyed.
To quote certain bagmen, multiverse theory is a.
Well, basically, it's an April Fool what if to start, so I'm allowed by calling it an April Fool what if, I'm allowed to be a bit more zany. And also, there still could have been a situation where Broly found himself in a Saiyan pod and was then entombed in ice after going berserk. So there's still something that could have happened in a different cycle.
It still
I
can
will
happen.
accept that explanation.
Thank you. But yeah, again, April Fool what ifs are allowed to be a bit more zany. But Podo, thank you very much. I will come to my conclusion soon, in a couple of months when I'm doing the next part. Hazuki Warrior, what if Raditz and Nappa turned good together? Raditz first, obviously, but then Nappa survived and probably stayed on Earth.
Yeah, we answered that. No good Vegeta.
No, Vegeta would put a stop to that instantly. Definitely.
And
Except-
even not Vegeta wouldn't turn good then. So you can get either two of them or Vegeta, not all of them, sadly.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you're presented with 3 options and you're only allowed to pick 2.
Yeah.
And you got to remember that Vegeta is such a proud and arrogant and even like when he was still a villain, he was such a snotty villain. He was this real jerk. He has this almost contrarian streak in him where he doesn't even want to entertain the possibility of doing something if he hadn't already thought of it himself. You know, it's like, and also he was very cruel to his teammates. I mean, Nappa was his loyal retainer for literally decades.
He was his caretaker since he was a child.
Caretaker, right-hand man,
Yeah.
guardian, all that kind of stuff, teammate. And Vegeta tossed him away like yesterday's trash. So he's not the kind of person. It takes a lot of effort to make him turn good.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah. So Dark Prince Riven. What if there was no technique for fighters to fly? We would Dragon Ball would be over very quickly. Also, if there was no technique, then yeah, a lot of fighters in the Freezer Force would have not been able to move or fly themselves. Yeah, so it would have affected everybody. Like the Freezer Force may not have been as
Frieza would rock this sweet chair much more.
He'd be in his Jetsons chair even more.
Yeah.
Definitely. But yeah, it would impact people a lot more. Definitely, in terms of people would not get to places quick enough. And a lot of empires probably would have had a different outcome. So that's very definitely true. Doc Silver Online. What if Charlotte was Vegeta's younger brother? Tarbell doesn't exist. That's right, he doesn't exist. And came to Earth with Vegeta and Nappa as Vegeta's apprentice. So basically, if Charlotte was there as a Carber or Tarbell 4.0 or something like that, or basically if Vegeta actually kept his brother around or something like that, I'm not.
You guys really like Charlotte. Kagi should be flattered.
Kagi should be really proud, absolutely.
Yeah.
I wish Kagi was here to actually explain himself, but
Yeah.
But basically, I don't know really. I think based on that, Charlotte would not be as malevolent as his older brother. So I think he would see Vegeta's actions as questionable. But then again, maybe not. It just depends on how much Frieza's time and influence has affected him. But hey, an extra pair of hands with Charlotte there would have made it even more of a challenge for Goku, pretty much. So it would have just been yet another person that the Earthlings would have had to fight. And it would have been made Goku's challenge even more difficult. Icy Pal. What if the What If crew were characters in JoJo?
You pressed the JoJo button.
Well, basically, for me, it would basically we would come up with what if chapters, and we would never refer to them ever again. So you'd never have multiple parts. You would have never multiple parts. We'd come up with jokes and stuff like that. Would be in one part. We'd never refer to them ever again.
We don't do that now.
We would invent powers. We would invent powers that only get used for
Once.
a single season.
Yes.
And then get exchanged for a completely different kind of power in a later arc.
Yes, and we would have a character that used to really know what liars tasted like, but then never brought up again. Oh wait, that was Bucciarati. Okay, never mind. But yeah, I'm just saying that if it were JoJo,
I don't actually know enough about JoJo. I only know a lot. I've only gleaned a little bit of periphery, so I'd have to do my research if I was going to become a JoJo what-ifer.
Yeah, but basically, yeah, I'd need to do that as well. But I do know enough about the memes and the references to basically understand. So basically, Icy Pal, I just have to say, do you understand our query? That's all. So, okay, level 20 factotum. What if Videl went with Goku to the checkout station? After Goku had to go back to see if Gohan was alive or not after the first Buu fight. So basically, in that ultimate genocide that Buu did, if Videl was caught up in it, well, I think if that happened, we would have Gohan going berserk, because that happened when she was in danger with Spopovich. If he'd have found out, and he probably would have been able to sense Videl's energy, because she was quite a bit more powerful than the average human. He would have been able to tell. We probably would have had Gohan going like almost Super Saiyan Rage, I think. If there was a time to bring Super Saiyan... Oh yeah, go on, sorry.
What would have been an interesting little twist, and this is one of the things that I kind of, because Gohan always had these instances throughout the series and the movies where he'd hit this sort of like rage cap, and it would cause his tail to grow back. And I think what would have been funny is that, like, if before he could complete his training, before he could reach that point of like unlocking his ultimate potential via the Elder Kai, what if his rage had become so intense at the thought of Videl and his family and everyone he loved dying that his tail came back and he experienced the Super Saiyan 4 transformation?
Oh wow!
Yeah.
If that had been that big with a very tempestuous
Like,
teenager, jeez.
Yeah. Like, he goes Great Ape on like the Kai's planet or something, because let's just say that they've got a situation there that's got the heavy blood waves or something.
Yeah.
And so he goes Super Saiyan Great Ape, and they have to bring him back down to a level of control, like Goku talks to him or something like that. And so Gohan goes Super Saiyan 4 instead of Ultimate Gohan, and it's Super Saiyan 4 Gohan versus Super Buu.
Yeah, no, basically, Gohan would have obliterated him. Like, obliterated him fiercely. Like, we wouldn't have had the cockiness.
Obliterated every memory of him, and then obliterated the remnants of the memory.
Gohan would have gone further beyond. Anyway, Kane Lane God. Yeah. Hey, Masako, long-time viewer, first-time live stream viewer. Well, thank you very much, Kane. The only good thing to come out of the movie arcs was the extended and more perilous Beerus fight. I still think that the movie version of Battle of the Gods' fight with Beerus and Goku was better. I just still think that was better. But, yeah, again, that was very true. That was one of the better parts of the movie arcs. Definitely. So, but thank you very much, Kane, all the same. Heartless Fang. I'm out of Gohan-related what-if material, so have some love and money. Well, thank you, Heartless. Very much obliged. Thank you very much. I hope you're having a good day.
Thank you. We love you too.
Yeah. Pale Umbreon. What if Goku met the Saiyans in the afterlife after his fight with Raditz? Well, I don't think he would have met them, because either they
most of them are in Heffel.
Yeah, and they would have also not had their bodies, so he wouldn't have been able to tell. Like, as Vegeta proved, even though Vegeta had done some good in the world, he still did not get to keep his body when he died. So, really, they would have just been puffs of cloud. So, realistically, he would have not been able to tell them apart. So, unfortunately, Pale, we can't really do that. But if he did, they would probably think he's Bardock's kid or something like that. And then, basically, would have had some lectures about, I am now a good Saiyan. You guys should be good too. Yeah, pretty much. We'd have a lecture in some way. Tedis987. What if Videl sussed Gohan as the Golden Fighter? So basically, if she immediately found out that he was the Golden Fighter. Pretty much we would have just had what we had there already, in the original, just a bit earlier. Pretty much. And we'd have just had that scenario, that like plot thing happen earlier, pretty much. That's the only thing I can think of. Timothy Ron, what if Gohan had gotten the heart virus? Okay. When? It depends when.
Yeah.
So
as kid, it would be pretty dark. Future Gohan, it would be pretty dark. During Buu Saga,
it'd be pretty dark.
It'd be pretty dark.
Yeah, it would be pretty dark. Yeah, and if Gohan had the heart virus, oh yeah, it would not have been good, definitely. Ollie Johnson, I hope you haven't had this one before, but what if instead of blackmailing Hercule, 18 decided just to win the tournament and take his place? Well, basically, not out of the ordinary. Basically, she would have just thought, well, if I just won the tournament, I would get even more money. And then I would be, yeah, why do I have to listen to this bumbling idiot? Like, I guess, yeah, she could have done that. She could have just been like, okay.
That would be so much catharsis for people like me who aren't the biggest fans of Hercule.
Yeah, it would
Same.
It would have been funny if he thought he managed to get one over Gay Team, but she had one over him all along. So it would have been cathartic for people who aren't, as you say, you know, the best fans of Hercule. Surplus history. What if Chi-Chi wished to become a Saiyan? So basically, it would have been like our What If Krillin Became a Saiyan video, only with Chi-Chi. Check that out. Cheeky plug. Well, basically, if she had done a similar wish to be like Goku, almost something like that, to try and please him, she would have ended up being a Saiyan and have no idea what's going on. But, yeah, pretty much, she would have, pretty much that scenario I did with Krillin, probably not too similar to Chi-Chi, just for slightly different motives.
Maybe, I think we got this one, and I think we mentioned that maybe she would get a better understanding for Gohan's dual nature. Maybe Gohan would have a better childhood, and she would be still training.
Yeah, she probably would be, definitely. Jared Glasspool. What if Krillin was not human, but the part of the beast race on Earth? So basically, Krillin was like an anthropomorphic animal type thing, like a beast.
Well, we'd have another animal character.
Yeah, we'd have some representation in that finally. But basically, I would say probably just a bit more variety and probably a bit more potential. But yeah, that's pretty much it, really. Just a little bit more potential.
Or he would be shown much less because Toriyama would be too lazy to draw an animal character.
Oh yeah, and also he wouldn't be the space duck.
Quack. Maybe
Well,
he would be a duck person, anthropomorphic duck person.
He'd be a kooky duck person, yes. Frostbite. What if Bulma and Types had a little sister? I'm guessing Bulma would have been a pretty... Yeah, it might have affected Bulma's, you know, personality and stuff.
We don't know,
Maybe,
but I can tell you guys what you will find out. What if Bulma and Tights had a little brother? Hint, hint.
Ah, yes. You'll find that out on the week of the 14th, I think. Or next
Is this
week.
what I think it is?
Yes.
It
You'll
is.
find out.
It is.
You shall find out soon. Manifesto. What if Broly from the Super movie at full power versus Kefla? Who would win? I'd be very ecstatic if Broly beat the Ultra Saiyan 6 Potara fusion.
I think Broly.
Broly would
win. Broly would win, hands down.
Broly would win.
I like Kefla.
Time
well,
limit.
like is a strong word, but I think Kefla's cool. And it's great to have that strong female representation in there. But let's be real. She when it gets right down to it, she probably would not have actually beaten Goku or Vegeta in their later stages of their transformations and stuff, even if she hadn't gone against an Ultra Instinct version. And when you get right down to it, like Broly had reached such a pinnacle of power by the time of his Super Saiyan transformation that Vegeta and Goku had to resort to fusion and becoming Gogeta Blue in order to defeat him. So I think that his in the terms of like raw power, would Broly overpower Kefla? I absolutely think so.
Yeah, I think so, unfortunately. So, but you know, I think that pretty much sums it up. Anime Guy 01. What if the Wrath state was always the transformation instead of the Great Ape? That would have been pretty interesting. To kind of see the power just kind of well up and get greater and greater and greater. If that happened and been from the start, if Goku as a kid, when he crushed Grandpa Gohan, probably would have been, he probably would have ended up being a unstoppable, and he would have ended up without even knowing it, destroying the planet, pretty much, by basically just ever spiraling power. As a kid, going Uzaru and stuff like that. Well, the Wrath state as a kid. So yeah, It would have been dark, definitely. Nick Wolf. What about the cell? Oh no, we've covered that already. Paparazzi. What if Fat Boo was made God of Destruction? Everything would be destroyed.
I don't know, like if Mr. Boo, like Fat Boo from our time would be a god of destruction. I think it would be easier to manage than Beerus.
And Hercule would be his attendant. Hercule would be his attendant. I mean, to be honest, you know that they would have had Whis as the attendant, but Hercule would be the actual attendant, really. Like Whis would be his assistant in some way. Daniel
Funny thing is that we actually discussed this with Josh Martin on Sayaka.
Yeah, no, we did, and
on the panel.
Yeah, those guys, these actors, they know a lot more about Dragon Ball than you think. So they do know a lot about their characters. But Daniel Falk, crazy idea. What if on a wish or some factor switches his alignment and pulls a Vegeta transition? So basically, if somebody made a wish on the Dragon Balls and Vegeta then becomes, like, changes sides much quicker, like, against his will.
You'd have to word it just right. I think you'd have to word it in such a way that it had to be a subtle change. Like you'd have to make a wish to give him a more remorseful heart or something like that, something very subtle where it's not just a snap of the fingers and he's a good guy now. It's more like he comes to his own conclusion that he doesn't want to be a villain anymore because he now has these feelings in his heart.
No, definitely. I think it would have to be very strong.
Only Super Dragon Balls could do that, and I kind of love the idea of I wish Vegeta would be a good guy, and Vegeta would turn into what Dabura turned in Busaka.
I disliked that Dabura so much.
I both love it and hate it at the same time.
Conflicting feelings.
It's funny, but
yeah.
All right, Timothy Room. What if Gowasu and Zamasu were the Universe 7 Kais?
Well, Universe 7 would be in for a hard time.
Yeah, very much
Zamasu isn't the kind of pushover that Shin is.
No, I mean basically the Zero Mortal Plan would have started in Universe 7.
Yeah. And Gowasu would be like, I'm not doing anything.
Could you imagine if Gowasu and Zamasu had shown up to the World Martial Arts Tournament in the Buu Saga to prevent the revival of Majin Buu, and Zamasu fought against any of the Z fighters, he would just be like, Master Gowasu, why are we doing this? Why don't we just let Majin Buu destroy this place? These mortals aren't even worth it.
Yeah, no, basically, the Dragon team would have never stood a chance of even becoming...
No, Zamasu, if you behave, we'll get McDonald's. All right, Master.
The Batosai. What if Cooler was searching for Namek's Dragon Balls instead of Frieza? It would depend on whether he was listening into the Scouters about the Dragon Balls. But if he was, he would have probably just gone and done it under his very nose, and done it before Frieza. He would have gone under the Dragon Balls much more quickly, on his own, with his own team, So, he would
get them only to make Frieza not get them, but I wonder if Cooler would actually use it. Like, he doesn't strike me as someone who would use a gimmick.
Oh no, he would take it just to make sure Frieza didn't.
Yeah.
Just to be tempestuous and stuff.
I don't think if he would wish on it. Like, Cooler has that weird...
No, he's just doing it to spite Frieza. Anyway, Hawkticus History of Corner. What if Gohan had a sister who was like 2 years younger than him, and it was much for... I imagine
we read.
We've already done that, Hawkticus, but very much fair. Hannah Rowan asked, "What if Goten was transgender?" Interesting.
Well, here's the thing about a situation like that is that it's hard to get that into a shonen series in the first place because Japan has some very backwards views about trans individuals and just LGBT in general. LGBT plus people over there are, more often than not, they're treated as either a gimmick, a fetish, or they're treated as a really broad spectrum stereotype.
Absolutely.
And if you wanted to do it justice, you'd have to approach it from a very realistic point of view. You'd have to really get into Goten's head. You'd have to really see his psychology. You'd have to see his everyday life. You'd have to see how he's treated among his peers. at what point in his age he starts to feel these feelings. Like maybe he doesn't identify as a boy. And you'd have to take extreme care with it.
Yeah.
And it had to be very, very character centric. And I don't know if that sort of story really works in the grand scheme of a Dragon Ball series. I think it could work in a fan series that was more slice of life, kind of like Dragon Ball R&R.
Yeah.
But it would take a lot of work. And if you were following the standard shonen format, I don't think you could really do it justice.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was thinking, because it's just realistically, Toriyama would not have a clue how to do that. Like, he would not have any idea about how. And he would end up bungling it badly by trying.
And for those who want to bring up the concept of like using the Dragon Balls and stuff, the problem with the Dragon Balls and changing the biology of somebody is it's a very weird situation because of the fact that when they wanted to wish for the bombs to be or for the androids, the cyborgs or whatever, to be turned back into humans, Shinron said he couldn't do it. And it's like, okay, well, that seems silly. But so they had to instead wish for the bombs to be removed from their bodies, or wish for them to be disabled or whatever. So you kind of have to ask yourself, well, then what are the limitations of Shenron's ability to change someone's biology? But you get so many different fan what ifs and stuff about turning into Saiyans and so forth, so on and so forth, that like, yeah, if you wanted to use the Dragon Balls, it would solve a lot of issues as far as questions of surgery, of dysphoria, and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
So it would probably be a situation where once Goten decided that, yes, they identify as a girl, they want to be a girl, they want to transition, then I honestly think that Goku and Chi-Chi would be perfectly fine with it, because it wouldn't hamper them as a person in any way. It doesn't change who they are. They just go and they would get the Dragon Balls for them, and then they would make a wish, and bada bing, bada boom. If only it were that simple in real life.
I mean, the characters themselves don't seem particularly bothered with things like that. It's just get the author to be on side. But yeah, again, you need to take a very serious. You need to be very careful and very serious and very pragmatic with the whole thing. Otherwise, it's just a little bit. It could be seen as a pastiche, and that's never good. But no, that's. But Hannah, thank you very much for pointing it out and making us think about this. So
and
thank you very much.
Thank you for the question.
Yes. Master Riku, what if the Gine had landed on learned of the Dragon Ball's capabilities before planet's destruction? I think if she found out, she would have used it. She would have used it to try and have a chance to save her children and Bardock, and basically stop Frieza and stuff like that. But the question is, though, what wish would she have made? Like, again, because we got to rattle through these, because we've got a lot of you. You guys have been very, very supportive today.
Yes, super supportive.
In short, really, in terms of like planet's destruction, basically, again, it would have to be phrased like, do you stop Frieza?
What if Frieza never existed?
Yeah, or basically, or
make Frieza never exist. Erase Frieza from history.
Or
and
like have Frieza, or
Yeah.
as we said in DBZA, just have Frieza's planet make a collision course into a sun. Boom, done. Like basically, that you'd have to come up with a very lateral wish to try and stop that from happening. But yeah, Manifesto. Unfortunately, your what if is a very good one. Haverok has seen it and has given his approval, but unfortunately, it's a very major spoiler for the manga, like major. So we do like it, but yeah, sorry about that. We're not really going to be talking manga spoilers today. That's not the point of the discussion. But we have made a note of it, and we do acknowledge it, and we do like what you say. So thank you very much, Manifesto. Paparacha, what if Goku wished Gohan back at Pilaf Castle? Again, as it's been implied in Z, if you try and bring somebody back, even though Gohan had been dead for more than a year, the person who died could easily just say, I don't want to come back. And I don't think Grandpa Gohan would want to come back, because he didn't.
And if they're dead for more than a year, you also have the situation where their body is messed up.
Absolutely.
And
especially after getting stomped by Ozaru.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, you're basically saying toe jam. So unfortunately, it's not logically possible, Paparacha. Sorry about that. Zyko the Psycho. What if Trunks never went back into the future after the Cell? After Cell, or returned to the past after beating 17 and 18 because they found and finished Bulma just as he was leaving, giving him no reason to stay. So basically, if things happened and Trunks stayed in the past, I would say you basically would have you'd have an extra pair of hands against Boo.
Oh, I got one. I
Go
got
on.
one. Slice of life comedy that occurs during the time skip between Cell Saga and Boo Saga, where Bulma has to come up with create fake documents for Trunks, and because Trunks lived in a dystopia where he didn't get a proper education, he goes to Orange Star High School. And so we get Trunks attending high school in a slice of life comedy over the course of the time skip.
You go. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Just like, oh my days. That's just ridiculous.
First day of school, he forgets to not bring his sword, so like he gets in trouble for having a weapon on campus.
He could end up with a racer. That would be funny.
Well, no, but see, that's the thing is that I was going based on the idea that Trunks would attend school during the time skip between Cell and Boo, so
Okay.
he wouldn't be able to date Erasa because
Yeah.
she'd be in like
Yeah.
middle school.
That
Yeah,
is
yeah,
very
yeah,
true.
true,
That is
true,
very
true,
true.
true.
But again, I could imagine Bulma doing that in some way and explaining that this Trunks and the other Trunks are two different people. Oh,
I think he
I just really like the name.
Yeah.
I just really I love the name so
Yeah,
much.
yeah.
I've named them both Trunks. Or no, my son is named after him. But anyway, Ice259. Hey, Masako, been a long time fan and subscriber since 2017. Well, thank you very much, Ice259. I hope you have a lovely marriage. Thank you very much again. It's only 2 weeks away, jeez. And I wish Trunks got the good ending. We all do. If he had the ending from episode 66, we'd all be happy. All I'm going to say. But thank you very much, Ice. It's very, very kind of you. And Kane, your super chat, we did get your super chat, so don't worry about that. So thank you for pointing out. Nick Wolf, what if Spike the Devilman was Shin's assistant? Deborah abdicates and Spike goes to Shin saying, look, this affects all of us, plus Spikes hate angels. Lol. That'd be a very fraught relationship, that's for sure. But I think Spike would then eventually redeem himself in being in the hands of a Supreme Kai with angelic properties. But yeah, and knowing the fact that Shin is way more powerful than him. So basically, he's doing it for the sake of, balance and stuff. So I think Spike would end up actually having some good side. This could be Spike the Devilman turned good, almost. It'd be redemption through conditioning, almost. But thanks, Nick. Telemachus, thank you very much for your contribution. Renji Abadi, what if Trunks traveled back to the Dungeon Quest universe? He'd feel right at home there, because they have lots of swords. Because that boy had lots of swords.
He likes his swords.
He likes his swords indeed. Doc Silver Online, what if Goku was unable to produce children? So basically, if Goku couldn't have kids,
Well, no Gohan
No
means
Gohan.
that when Raditz shows up, Raditz doesn't sustain the injury that makes it possible for Goku and Piccolo to defeat him. So I can only assume that Raditz would defeat Piccolo and Goku, and the story would probably end there because Earth would be scheduled for conquest and reselling.
Yes, absolutely. So it would have not ended well. Oh.
Oh.
Kenshin491. What if Piccolo barfed an army of kids to take over the world? Well, if he'd have done... I don't know whether... I don't think he would have actually done that. If you're talking about Piccolo Jr., because even though he was the spawn of evil Demon King Piccolo, Piccolo had some sense of mercy. Like King Piccolo. A very warped sense of mercy and judgment, but he had it. And then his son had it even more, because he did not want to hurt people. He just wanted to avenge his father and take over the world. Not, he had morals, as it were. He had a moral compass of some description. So I don't think he would actually do it that way. And I don't think he would actually know how. Because again, his daddy wasn't there to actually give him the ins and outs about how to do that. So I think Piccolo would have to have figured it out himself or find out through Kami. But Kami wouldn't tell him. So I think Piccolo would be up really a paddle with creek with no paddle, unfortunately. Paparacha, what if Vegeta became a separate third person in Buu? So basically, if somehow, some way they did like DNA manipulation and Vegeta basically spawned off or something, well, it'd be definitely more people against Buu, and probably Vegeta would have stopped Vegeta like trying to like do something funny with Buu's like integration, good Buu. So I think it would have eventually stopped Kid Buu from happening or becoming a thing. Just basically somebody to stop Vegeta from making something stupid. Dark Prince Revan, what if the Dragon Balls were hidden inside of people whenever they disappeared, instead of turning to stone, only became detectable after a year's time? Oh, that'd be dark. Hey, it's like, hey, excuse me, you got a Dragon Ball inside of you? Is this something where you have to come back in 48 hours? I don't remember eating it.
You know, they could probably make the wish. They could probably make the wish, even though the Dragon Ball is inside of them. You just have to gather the
them
people
together.
together instead.
Oh, but how would they? But then they'd come up and then they'd basically be beamed. But what would happen? Like once you made the wish.
The idea with that we had with the dragons from one of
The Shadow Dragon.
Yeah, if the dragons were in the Shadow Dragons from the beginning, but were the Guardians, it would be fun if they just were dragons turned into people. Like they were like disguising as people and trying to merge, and they would have to find a person that would be a dragon.
Okay, that's definitely fair. Anman 999. What if Cooler was on Namek instead of Frieza? I'll keep this short. Things would have been done a lot sooner because Cooler's a lot more direct than Frieza, definitely.
Yeah.
Things.
Cooler doesn't have nearly as much of a problem with getting his own hands dirty.
Yeah, exactly. He would have done the job much faster. He would have gotten the wish and probably blown the planet up to make sure nobody else could. So he would have just been more methodical, definitely. Kenshin 101. What if Masako is Barbary using his magic to control us? Papa! You're onto me. No, unfortunately, I wish I had magic, because then I would make Toei release Dragon Ball Super, now, pretty much. If I had the power, I would tell the directors at Toei, you must bring back Dragon Ball Super. Think of the money.
Papa!
Exactly.
And the M would be money instead of magic. Money Vegeta.
It'd be a $sign on Vegeta.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Victor Bryce, what if 1718 were present and turned Margin during the Buu saga? I don't think they would turn Margin because they're quite controlled in their own mental fortitude. They really don't listen to instruction at all. Like nobody.
It would have been a Vegeta scenario all over
basically,
again.
they'd have taken the power, but I don't know whether it would work against a cybernetic person. Yeah. And there's a lot of unknowns there. But again, Barbary thinks he would have done it, but then 17 would be like, yeah, old man, of course I'm not gonna do it. Like, you know, no. Basically, they would have flouted Barbary, and it would be showing even this magician cannot tell these kids what to do. So we would have had the same thing what happened with Jerome with Margin Vegeta. Telemachus, what if Dr. Gero used all of his androids to attack Goku? Well, at once. Well, one thing's for sure: 13, 14, and 15 were able to be eliminated by 3 Super Saiyans. But I think if it all happened at once, I think it would have just.
It depends on when.
Yeah.
So, because I mean, like, if the initial assault, instead of just being 19 and 20, was 13, 14, 15, 16, let's just forego 17 and 18 because they have problems taking orders.
Yeah.
13, 14, 15, 16, 19, and 20.
Yeah.
That's six androids, all of them pretty powerful.
Yeah.
And if Goku was in the throes of having heart problems, it would have been really bad. And 16 is more powerful than 17 and 18 are
Yeah.
at that point in the manga. So like when Vegeta shows up, like ready to kick some butt and stuff like that, 16 would just be like, "I shall handle him," and then Vegeta would be like, "Oh dear, mistakes were made."
It'd be like, oh no!
I will. Yeah. I will handle that small loud bird.
Heartless Fang. What if Gohan became rich and famous after the Great Saiyaman movie? I think he would have just given the money away to charity, or to like donate it to the university, like schools or something. I don't think. Well, he has no need for money. He's already like married the daughter of probably the richest guy or celebrity in the world. He just would have no need for the money. He would probably just say, "Oh no, you keep it."
And
he would probably do a Keanu
the
Reeves and donate 90% of it to various different research groups and charities.
Yeah, and basically at conferences, Gohan would then go, "No, you're breathtaking! You're breathtaking!"
Gohan, the Keanu Reeves of Dragon World.
Gohanu Reeves.
Kinda.
Yeah, pretty much. T-Zord. What if Vegeta kidnapped Gohan knowing his potential after the fight with Goku in the Saiyan Saga and trained him into becoming a real warrior like himself?
That's funny that you asked this because there is
that you asked that.
Yeah, we know somebody, with a channel that makes something similar, like...
I haven't made any what if for it yet, but I do have plans involving Gohan being spirited away by a certain Saiyan who shows up on Earth looking for his brother.
Well, there you go. So check out the link I've put in the description. Check out Sophie B's Plat channel.
And if you wanna watch that what if when it does get published, hit that subscribe button, ring that bell.
Yeah, absolutely. Paparazzi, what if Piccolo was treated like his numerical age? Oh, that would have been funny. Like, Goku would have been like talking down, saying, "Hey, Mr. Piccolo. How are you doing? You gonna fight me? You're gonna fight me? Oh, that's a big, strong boy." It's just like, and then Piccolo was like, "I want to fight Goku. Special." And then basically, "I'm going to destroy the world for my dad." That's funnier than it sounds.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Piccolo in dungarees. Just going, I'm gonna fight you, Goku.
in overalls, yeah.
That's funnier than it's supposed to be. X-Broly. Hey, Masako. I just wanted to say that I love your what-ifs and they've inspired me to make one of my own. Now, my question is, what if Goku accidentally went to Vampa after Yardrat? Well, basically, if he ended up mistaking Vegeta's power for Broly and ended up on Vampa, well, I don't know, actually. I think, realistically, Paragus would have wanted to know how the heck did you do that? How the heck did you, basically, do this? Instant transmission. They'd have taken probably them to Earth. Then, basically, we would have had, Paragus see that Vegeta's there.
Goku would free Broly when he would see that he is being...
Oh, yeah, no, basically, he'd say, "What are you doing?" And he'd say, "That's not supposed to be on your neck." Then just yanks it off. Paragus has no control. And we probably would have... It would have ended up badly, though, if Broly had gone nuts, pretty much. But if it hadn't, then I think Paragus would have ended up fleeing, pretty much. Just basically with nothing he can do. But interesting, though. We'll make a note of it. Isaiah Frazier. What if Reichshallow, Raditz group in Dragon Ball Zero, survived? Well, if Raditz had his minions with him or a team, he probably would have ended up being stronger because they would have had a team behind his back. But, again, hard to say in the kind of actual lore and canon. I need to remind myself of that, actually. Yeah. Unfortunately, not that. Yeah, but, okay. Anime Guy 01. What if Goku actually got a decent education? He would wear glasses and have a pocket protector. No, I'm joking, I think if he did, he had a decent education, he probably would understand why Chi-Chi would want Gohan to study. He would get it. At least he wouldn't be as resistant to the idea. That's my best bet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so basically, I think that's pretty much what that would be. He would understand, and I think that relationship would probably be a much healthier one. Because Goku would actually empathize, or at least understand. But no, good point.
Anything that gives Goku more empathy is a good thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely,
Oh,
definitely.
Yes.
Zyko the Psycho. What if, going by the Bardock special, Babidi took over Goku instead of Vegeta, awakening Kakarot's programming, giving us Margin Kakarot, and Goku and Kakarot became like split personalities? Basically going by the Bardock special? Well, Goku's mental fortitude, if it was in the Buu saga, he would resist it because, you know, he's in control of himself. But basically, if it happened when he was a baby, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
Babidi thinking to take advantage of a baby who has no personality whatsoever. It would be a slow burner, definitely. Like, he probably would use this as a very long-term project and, like, have it in a way that he would have a very sweet boy on the surface and then somebody who would be, like, you know, something on the streets, this in the sheets, as it were. But as in, like, you know, split personalities. It would be a different project. It would be a very different tack for him, but I think he would relish the challenge. Lord Beerus, what if the Frieza Force didn't stop tracking Goku? Well, they would have landed on Earth, and Earth would have been cut up and then sold for the Frieza Force. It would have not ended well. But the adventure would have ended before it even begun. Pretty much, really. That's the thing. Brendan Little. Everybody wants to know whether Raditz or Nappa are stronger, but the real question that I have is, who's the better farmer gardener?
Nappa.
No, I say Raditz.
Definitely. No, I don't know, because Nappa has a lot of that experience from growing the Cybermen.
I grow Cybermen, and if you watch What Did Nappa Turn Good, he has a garden in the park. That is very cute. So Nappa is the better gardener, I think. Yeah, well, ultimately, now that you remind me about that. Jared Glasspool, what if Krillin used the same trick to get Master Roshi to train him to get the Elder Kai to unlock his mystic form? Well, I think he would have ended up doing it, but I think now after Gohan doing it, I think the Elder Kai would be more inclined to just do it. Like, now. He's so ingrained with the people now, Universe 7, he would just say, yeah, okay.
Oh, you know,
I don't know, because see, here's the thing: is Elder Kai got shafted on his deal because he was supposed to unlock Gohan's power in exchange for something, and he didn't really get what he was hoping for out of it because he's a perv like Roshi. Unless they had something to offer him, I don't think the Elder Kai would be willing to do the whole ultimate potential for anybody else, because he would feel that these guys don't keep their promises. They try to weasel out of them.
That is true. They do take advantage of things.
The better question is this power comes from him or the witch? Because it was never, I think it was never directly stated if it was a Kai thing or it was a witch thing. We know that he got some powers from the witch.
Personally, I tend to think it's actually a Kai thing, but it's like a lost technique sort of situation, because of the fact that it's implied to kind of be related to the technique that Guru uses to unlock the potential of Gohan and Krillin.
Yeah, that's definitely fair.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, EC Cones. What if Bra, Goten, and Kid Vegeta were the main characters of GT? So basically, if it was Bra, Goten, and Vegeta made into a kid, that would be actually more interesting. Because you'd actually get to see the dynamic between a teenage Bra or a preteen Bra with Kid Vegeta. That would be actually quite hilarious. Let's make a note of that.
I would also be down for anything that kind of expands more on Goten. I feel Goten really got shafted in GT, and they also kind of didn't do his character very good justice, because the few times he does appear, he's a total creeper.
Right? It's just like not good at all. But Yeah, let's make a note of that. I like the sound of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Thomas Pierce. What if Roshi and Shen knew the fusion dance and taught it to their pupils? Gorilin and Tianxia in Dragon Ball, Gokulo in the Saiyan Saga, Krillhan and Gogeta on Namek? Would this delay the discovery of Super Saiyan? Not necessarily. I think actually you'd have discovered Super Saiyan by accident. Because
you also kind of got to remember that the power level issue has always been a questionable thing as well, because there's this kind of ceiling, this soft ceiling, where the higher in power you get, the closer you get to the transformation, you know?
Yes. But one thing's for sure is that, you know, there'd be a multiplier. You'd end up discovering it. Like, if you fused, you would feel like, wow, this power inside of me, it wants to erupt into something, but I don't know what it is. And it's like, and then when you defuse, you would then try and it would give you more motivation to try and emulate that by yourself. So it would be a it would be a great motivator, definitely.
As much as I'm not the biggest fan of fusions, having, you know, a fusion of, you know, Chiaotzu and Tien versus Goku and Krillin during Tenkaichi Budokai, I feel that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool.
Okay, 1 second, guys. I'm just going to put an ad break on, and I will be right back. But I'm just going to say, between you two, the next one we do have is, what if Babidi took over that Freezer guy's mind? So I'm going to leave you two to this, after we have a little ad break.
Okay.
So do feel free. I'll be right back.
This is an outbreak. This is an outbreak. This is an outbreak.
feel kind of awkward because of the fact that I know that the people who have like premium, they can hear us still. They aren't getting ads. So hello, everybody who's not experiencing an ad break.
Yeah. Hello. Let's chill for a moment. Yeah. This is an ad break song. It's not going to be very long. The ad break song is not very long. And I kinda lost the rhyme here.
Welcome to the MasakoX channel ad break. This is your host, Sophie B.
And this is your co-host, Haverok.
I can't even keep it up. It's too funny.
Yeah, so today, only for 1000 Zeni, you can buy an original Namekian antennae ripped out of a freshly gathered Namekian. Only 1000 Zeni.
Apparently, I don't know if Masako actually triggered the ad break, because apparently people are saying that Masako forgot the ads because nobody has gotten the ad break.
It was very short. I got the ad. It was very short. So we are your ad.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, the ad's over. We may as well address the question. So what was the question? What was the question again?
Sorry, Michael.
Oh, Masako's back.
I'm now back. So basically, did we come to the conclusion on that?
Well, we didn't go to the ad break, but we made a a two people show.
Yeah.
So.
Apparently the ad that you triggered was super short, and some people just didn't get it at all. So we were just kind of chatting because we didn't know when the ad was triggering.
Sorry about that. I have no idea. It's a brand new feature on this, so I had no idea how it works. But anyway, let's get on. Zero plays games. What if hybrid Saiyans couldn't go Super Saiyan, but it was easier for normal Saiyans to achieve higher levels of Super Saiyan? So okay, so like a rebalance, almost. So essentially, it's like, yeah, Gohan, Goten, Trunks, they couldn't go Super Saiyan, but Goku, Vegeta, they can access Super Saiyan 2 faster. Well, one thing's for sure, all the training with Vegeta, Trunks would have been like, it would have been much more fruitless, and Vegeta would have been impatient.
Yeah.
And he would have just been using Trunks as training fodder, pretty much. Yeah, he wouldn't be trying to do that to like bond with his son. It'd be basically just like, You are just here as a punching bag for me. And it would be very detrimental for their relationships between fathers and sons, quite frankly. So yeah, it's kind of heavy. It's actually quite a heavy proposition, unfortunately. But no, thanks very much, though. That's a very good point. Victor Bryce, what if Vegeta took the stance of 17 and more Raditz stay out the fight with Nappa and the others? Raditz would survive without fighting until Vegeta turns on Nappa, and then Raditz jumps into the blast, saving them narrowly. So basically, okay, so what if Vegeta took the stance of 17 and made Raditz stay out of the fight? So basically,
So kind of insisting on it being a one-on-one situation, like with 17, and as far as staying out of the fight between 18 and Vegeta. Vegeta's just kind of like, I want to watch people go one-on-one against my guys until
or maybe
until.
I think they're talking about Vegeta takes the stance of like 17 telling Raditz sooner, hey, we can tell that you're struggling, get out of there, pretty much. As in like something like that. So basically, if Raditz was just hanging around on Earth waiting for them to arrive, then they band together again, and then basically just tells Raditz, you're not strong enough, don't get in the way, and then Nappa is betrayed. Raditz goes in and sacrifices himself to save Nappa. It could be interesting, very dramatic, and Nappa probably would have survived a little longer. But again, I'd say that's a curious little thematic twist, I would say. Brandon Little. Here's an April Fool's what if that be Masako's greatest challenge. What if Goku landed on fake Namek? Well, basically, he'd asphyxiate because fake Namek, there is no fake Namek. Moving on. Ice259. Hey, Masako. What if Goten was in My Hero Academia? Oh, he'd be just a cinnamon bun right there, absolutely. Yeah, so basically, I'd say that if he was, he'd fit right in and be everybody's friend. So, that's all I gotta say on the subject. Manifesto. Hey, Masako, are you gonna do a video talking about and sharing your new P.O. Box things in the mail and gifts and art that you got from Sayacon? I didn't actually buy anything at Sayacon, but I did get some art, and I've not been to the P.O. Box in a couple of weeks, but I actually don't get that much stuff. But I'll probably go at the beginning of next week to go and check what we got in the P.O. Box, so I'll definitely have a look. But if that's implying that you've sent something, I'll be looking forward to seeing what you got. Paparacha. What if Goku had a stroke instead of a heart virus? Well, he'd still, in a way, thematically speaking, it wouldn't really make much of a difference because he would still be incapacitated. And
the difference would be is that you couldn't really use a medication to prevent it.
No, that's true.
If he had a stroke, he wouldn't necessarily guarantee his death, but he would likely lose a lot of motor function and portions of his body would be paralyzed.
Yeah. But on the other hand, Senzu could heal that probably.
That'd be more likely to.
Yeah.
It would be more likely to be healed since it's something that is conventional on Earth. The reason why the heart virus doesn't work on sensu beans is because it was from outer space.
Yeah, and even if like a sensu didn't work because its healing properties aren't enough or anything like that, magical healing from somebody like Dende probably would still work.
Yeah.
Just because of the fact that people can recover from the after effects of a stroke. It's just very difficult.
It depends on how quick you can treat it and how quick you react. They always tell you act fast on that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it, really. It'd be much more likely it would be treatable instead of the heart virus. Heartless Fang. What if Zeno was Arale in disguise? I'm just thinking, oh my god, it was Arale all along. You'd actually forgive it more because you'd be thinking, oh, it's Arale. It's a gag. It's just a gag thing. Okay. You'd be a bit more willing to forgive Zeno's bad writing, and you think, oh, it was Arale. Oh, that makes sense.
It's just a gag. We don't have to consider it canon. It's filler.
It's filler, absolutely. Okay.
Yeah, I may be repeating myself, but I'm so mad about this because I really like Zeno in his first appearance.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But,
EC Cones. Thoughts on Dragon Ball Multiverse? Definitely important in terms of fan creation. A massive undertaking, and I need to catch up on it majorly because a lot's happening.
It's very impressive from just the undertaking aspect of it. There are some issues that I have with it from like a personal level. They kind of get into a lot of particular tropes that I'm not as into, especially when it pertains to characters like Bra, Bulla, whatever you want to refer to her as. The art definitely evolved over time. I like their various different artist showcases where they change up the style and stuff like that. But they also are very heavily on like the old school fanficky side by really playing up like the most common aspects of like fan questions and like
early
it being about this
2000s.
multiversal tournament especially is one of those situations where it's like it's all about the fighting and that's very fan it's such a fan style thing because there actually is a lot more going on in like the behind the scenes of Dragon Ball than people give it credit for. It's just that Toriyama doesn't always do the best job presenting it.
Yeah, that's true.
I kind of like the fact that King Cole does stuff.
Yeah, at least that's that.
Yeah.
At least using characters properly. Victor Bryce. Raditz and Nappa will be blasted a long distance away. They'd survive, but Vegeta wouldn't know as he broke his scouter earlier. Then you have all of them surviving. Your thoughts? Oh, so elaborating on what he said earlier. So somehow Vegeta doing a blast that was meant to kill Nappa, it doesn't kill Nappa. They get flown away. And he wouldn't
kind of like with what happens with Vegeta in the beam struggle against Goku.
Okay, that's true. But I think I don't know actually. If it did happen, then I think Nappa and Raditz would then really have to process their life situation now that their ally would now basically betrayed them, and
that might work.
That might
because
work, yes.
Yeah, because then you'd at least get the situation where Vegeta gets all of that extra character growth from going to Namek. And since Nappa and Raditz wouldn't be like, they wouldn't be super gung-ho to kill him, they want to try to convince him to be a good guy, you know?
Yes, they'd be more convinced just to kind of adapt.
Yeah. As long as he gets that character growth from Namek and stuff, I think he would, that might work out, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so Isaiah Frazier, what if 18 and Blonde Launch became besties? You know what, in R&R, I kind of want to actually see that happen.
Yeah.
I really want to see that happen.
No, well, okay, we got R&R, let's make that happen. We'll make that happen, because that actually makes a lot of sense, jeez. Man.
Yeah.
Okay, let's make a note of that.
Why haven't we thought about it? Jesus.
Okay, well, we'll fix that. Evan Ismajdovic. What if Goku, Gohan, and all the current Universe 7 Saiyans still had their tails in all of DBZ and DB Super? If they all did, they would probably have a bit more... They probably would get stronger faster with having the original Saiyan ability and aptitude for balance and agility.
You know, I actually brought up a thing... I remember making it years ago. I once wrote, and it was a very short piece, but I once wrote a kind of like a blog essay about the theory that I had that was that Saiyan tails are actually an inhibitor of sorts, and that their existence, barring GT, which later was wound up becoming non-canon anyways, that the existence of the Saiyan tail actually prohibits or reduces the possibility of greater Super Saiyan potential and power, because if you notice in the canon, all of the Saiyans that achieve Super Saiyan don't have tails. Goku and Vegeta, neither of them have tails when they achieve it. Gohan doesn't have a tail when he achieves it. Neither Goten nor Trunks have tails when they achieve it. And then the Universe 6 Saiyans literally were said to have evolved beyond tails, and none of them have tails when they achieve it. And the new Broly from Dragon Ball Super Broly, his tail had to be removed, and he achieved Super Saiyan. But in the canon, none of the tailed Super Saiyans ever achieved a Super Saiyan transformation. And if you wanted to say like, oh, well, Bardock, in all of the media and stuff, Bardock's got Super Saiyan, that's just because he's a fan favorite and he really pushes the merchandise.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I actually did an essay once, and I might even readdress it for a future episode of Draganalysis, talking about the idea that perhaps the Saiyan tail is something that a Saiyan cannot experience their true power potential until they have lost their tail, at least like once. And then if you wanted to canonize Super Saiyan 4, it's like the trauma of having lost the tail and growing it back over the long course of absorbing Blutz waves without it, that allows for that heightened power.
Okay. Alright, that's fair. Amma999. What if God Key was exclusive only to humans? Well, it would certainly make this humans more relevant, but I think that again...
It would mean all of the gods of destruction would be humans.
Yeah, but that would be very convenient and very
Yeah.
Yes,
it'd be
very
boring.
convenient. But I think what they mean, as in like, if a mortal wanted to learn God Key, only as we know it, humans would
I see.
do it. So basically, it'd be something that the Saiyans would struggle with. But then Krillin said, "Oh, what are you talking about, Goku? I'm able to do it. Look, see."
It would make the humans relevant again.
Yeah.
I'm always down for that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that would certainly be a game changer. And then we'd have Ultra Instinct Krillin, and then there'd be more marketing and stuff.
Krillin. Yeah.
Migate no Kuririn! I know. No, the Daimon music. In What If Vegito stayed fused? Would Bulma and Chi-Chi stay fused? Love your work, guys. Keep awesome. Also, I'm down for Majin Saiyan Krillin. Ooh, that'd be good.
Majin Saiyan Krillin.
Majin Krillin. Ooh, that'd be interesting. But Bulma and Chi... Oh, of course, because of Bolchi. Of course. But Vegito, they don't fuse. That's the thing. Bulma and Chi-Chi don't fuse. They've just come to accept this as a thing for the good of the Earth. It's not ideal, but they've accepted it.
You know, you could always what if the what if, and later on do a what if of the what if where Bulma and Chi-Chi did decide to fuse, and they
I have
accepted
seen
the
too
Potara
much fan
earrings.
service of that with Gogeta recently.
I know,
I'm like,
it's so bad.
Yeah, I have hashtags on my tweet deck, and it's like sometimes you do see that stuff, and I'm like, yeah,
Yes.
okay, no, I'm closing that. Okay, no.
Please.
It's just hashtag Dragon Ball Super, because I'm checking for news about Tupa, and it's just like,
Such
You
comes
on
from an anime fandom.
that was an operative
the
word,
folks...
Sophie. Very operative word. But anyway, let's move on. At least it's not bad as a certain bank. Anyway. EC Cones. What if the Cyberman turned good? Well, technically they are good. It's just a case that they just get bad examples and nurture.
They are misunderstood.
They are misunderstood. If they were treated right and they were talked to nicely, because it has been proven thanks to Mythbusters that if you actually if you do talk to plants in some ways, it does have some sort of effect. Like,
You know what? I need to write a friendly Cyberman into What If Nappa.
yeah, like basically,
He's my gardening assistant.
Yeah, just
and then
being
basically
there,
you just like
chilling around,
gives
not
Cafe-
fighting.
you just cut.
Yeah.
One of them has a tray for cafe and just goes, "You gay?" As in drink.
I keep trying to teach them English, but unfortunately their vocal cords are not great.
It's like, and so basically, Cafe would try and learn cyber, like as in like
Oh my
cyber
gosh.
men. As in, she'd just go.
And they will be so happy and excited when she does it. And
Nappa and Cafe and their adopted child, the Cyberman.
Oh my god.
yeah.
Oh jeez. If only Bloom were here and to draw that. Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, Seth Inflamed. What if the universes in the Tournament of Power universes from other shonen anime? Well,
No.
no. That would just be. It was already a headache enough with Avengers and Infinity War and Endgame, and now having that. Basically, that was Jump Force, and that didn't work. Even though it should have.
That's what I was referring to, by the way.
Yeah, just go and play All-Star Victory Versus, pretty much.
Yeah.
Just go and play that. That's much better. Isaiah Fraser. What if after the Cell saga, Future Trunks went to Namek to wish back everyone killed by his time's androids? How would that affect the Zamasu saga? Now, this could have happened, because I don't know why he didn't do that, because they would have thought, well, okay, Namek has probably not been affected by this. Well, if he'd explained the situation, they might have helped. But it could, again, it is one of those potholes, and then like, well, yeah, why didn't they do that? Excuse me. But yeah, how would that affect the Zamasu saga? I don't think it would affect it really. Only just for the fact that probably Zamasu would destroy Namek first, or be one of the earlier ones to stop anybody from getting in his way. Because he would know about the Dragon Balls, and then therefore know about all the other Dragon Balls by asking.
It's kinda always an opportunity that we never learned what thought of the Namekians, because they should be a double disgrace for creating Dragon Balls, which were like, you know, a god's design originally.
Ah, yes, that's true. That'd be a very big quandary, definitely.
Yeah.
Do I destroy Do I destroy these Dragon Balls because they are not their creation of gods to show us superiority? So it's a quandary, definitely. Nick Wolf, what if Jackie Chun was a wanted man for the moon's destruction? Would Roshi invent a new persona? You must be Goku. I'm Jackie's cousin, Bryce Lee.
We did that in a lightning round.
We did do that in a lightning round, but Nick, we do a lightning round epic fails. If you check that video out, but I do appreciate Bryce Lee.
Yeah,
that is
Bryce
a great name.
Yeah.
That is a very good name, Nick. Paparazzi. What if the Cell Games was derailed by Zeno deciding to hold the same TOP same days? Fine, I think you this was before I did. No, Paparazzi, we did get this, so thank you very much anyway for the extra super chat, but we did get to it. It just takes a very long time to get through this. Titus
Yeah,
987,
we got a lot.
We do get a lot, and we are grateful for it. Because they do become videos. TS987, what if Gohan trained Videl properly and told the truth at training? Not just fight, but explain everything. So Ki Blast, Reflections, Marsenko. I think if
he started teaching her. He started teaching her Ki control.
He did.
The problem was they didn't have enough time.
That's the thing. They didn't have enough time before the tournament. So basically, if he had more time, and then they came back to it afterwards, then he probably would have done with pleasure.
Yeah,
if he took her to the room of Spirit of Time.
Oh my gosh! There is no way that Chi-Chi or Hercule would have allowed Gohan to spend a year with Videl in the room of Spirit and Time.
They wouldn't have to know.
You really think that Dende is gonna stand up to Chi-Chi when she comes to the lookout, asking if Gohan is there?
Come on, Dende, be my wingman on this.
Oh,
Yo.
Yo.
Dende would be upset because he'd be very jealous of Videl in the DBZA timeline.
Yeah.
Oh no, actually we did consider that, of like, you know, basically Dende said, who's this bitch, Gohan? Who's this bitch?
Oh my god.
You come in, you come up here after not coming to visit, and you bring this bitch along? What the hell, Gohan?
You said you'd visit, Gohan. How many times have you visited in the past 7 years?
Oh, I can count it under less than one hand. In fact, no hands. You've not come to visit. It's like, I'm the only one that's come to visit you at night. What did you say, then? Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. But yeah, in short, basically, you know, it would be that thing. Ghost Kaiser. What if Gine appeared in Z and not Raditz? So basically, if it was Gine instead of Raditz that came, well, first off, she would not be telling her son to go and fight for Frieza. Definitely not.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she'd be a bit more understanding if he didn't want to do it. But at the same time, she would also know that if she didn't come back with him, she'd be in danger. So she'd have to like.
She would say he's dead. He didn't survive or something.
Yeah, he would. She'd be having a scouter. But if she was smart enough, she'd take the scouter off.
Yeah. Yep.
But basically, yeah, she probably would just say, "Oh well, nah." Basically, this was her idea to try and find him, and then be like, "No, he's dead." And then there's Goku. He's dead. So, yeah.
And then there's this asshole.
Rasmus Lindahl. What if Oolong's transformations had the power of what he transformed into? even Saiyans or Namekians. Well, he would have done if he'd have studied properly. That's the whole point. Is that he didn't study hard enough, like Poir did, who was an absolute suck-up. But yeah, so basically, if Oolong had done the training like he was supposed to, he probably would have been a bit more formidable and probably would have had more power.
Now,
Well,
now I'm
Masa,
just imagining the.
I detect some resentment towards Puar.
Yeah, I detect a hint of resentment towards Poir.
Oh, no. It's just that sometimes in Dragon Ball you do get Poir go like, "Oh, Oolong, you're so dumb. I did the homework."
Well, I mean, he did do the homework.
I know, but like, as in like, he acts like a right suck up.
Well, it's supposed to be. It's that classic Japanese dynamic of the student council president, class rep type character, which is Poir, and the delinquent who didn't bother with his grades and is studying, Oolong. You could practically put them into a high school drama set in the transformation school of martial arts or wherever they attended, and it would totally work out.
Yeah,
See, Toei, we are giving you ideas for spin-offs, Toei.
We
There
are
you
the
go.
real Dragon Room.
We are the Dragon Room, and we are sharing it with everybody else. So there you go.
Yeah.
Philip Perkins, what if Gohan or another Z fighter were a planeswalker? Planeswalker?
A planeswalker, huh? That's from Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what does that mean?
I mean, planeswalkers, it's rough, and I haven't played Magic the Gathering in a long time, but back in the old days, the planeswalker was the player character who was using the cards, and then they introduced planeswalkers as characters in the cards with their own unique power qualities. And these people travel between various different like worlds and universes and dimensions and stuff like that. So if people from Dragon Ball were planeswalkers, I think they'd have a bit of a rough time because you have a lot of really, really powerful beings throughout the Magic the Gathering universe, including people like creatures like Nico Bolas, which is like this Lord of all Dragons type thing. Super evil. And I can't get into tons of it because I haven't played for probably 5 years. But it's an interesting idea. Like, I would never have thought to put Dragon Ball characters in Magic the Gathering and make them planeswalkers.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. Thank you very much for filling me in. I had no idea about planeswalkers, if I'm honest. Max the Demon Wolf. Hi, Masako. What if Raditz took Gohan and left, please? Well, if he did take Gohan and left the planet, they would have had to have a reason to get into the planet, but they'd have to figure out where they'd gone. So then they would have had to go to King Kai, because he'd have been able to track them, and basically King Kai would have come into the story a little earlier, and actually be assisting from afar, or something like that, or there'd have to be some way, and Kami would know. So, that's the thing, you get to Snake Way and stuff like that, but it would be a slow burner, in that regard. But again, this requires a bit more thought, and this will end up being a video eventually, I think. Eternal Blue. What if Tien had his potential unleashed over Krillin? Sure as much more vigorous training would make him far stronger than Krillin is even now. Yeah, so basically...
here's the thing, is a lot of people assume that Tien has more vigorous training than Krillin does. But here's the thing, is Krillin consecutively makes greater gains than Tien does during the same training sessions. Of the humans who trained up at Kami's Lookout, Krillin had by far the most growth. Even though he was not the highest power level, Tien was at the time amongst the humans, I believe. I'd have to double check because I know that Krillin's power level was 1770, and I think that Tien's power level was 1830. But here's the thing, is that Tien only experienced like 7.5-ish times growth, whereas Krillin experienced like an 8.25 times growth. Krillin repeatedly sees better gains from his training than Tien does. So the idea is that like over time, he would probably overcome Tien. So even if Tien had his potential unlocked, there's a good possibility that Krillin might be able to stay ahead of him.
Well, I think it just proves that the Turtle School training is far superior to the Crane School training in terms of overall growth over life. So basically, if Ken
Also-
Shinhan had been like, well, go on.
No. I was just wanted to make a silly joke that Krillin isn't injecting his arms with steroids. So yeah.
If your shoulders get any bigger, that's why we don't see that doctor anymore.
Kenshin on 491. What if Android 18 fell for Krillin at first sight? I think she kind of did.
Yeah, she kind of did, because it's like, I mean, DBZA really did kind of wrap it up just about as well as the canon did. It's like, she was kind of creeped out, but then she's moved by the fact that Krillin gives her back her humanity, so to speak, by removing the bombs. And so the implication is that she gave him an opportunity to date her, fell in love, and then that was that.
But at the same time, with that kiss, yeah, that was certainly demeaning and trying to rattle and stuff like that. But at the same time, she did find him kind of cute. Even if it may be slightly mocking, there was a kernel of truth to that. Just because of the fact that even though he was incredibly weak, he still was being plucky. It was cute. As in, like adorable. You stand out. I'm not going to kill you.
He was the pluckiest duck.
He was
the pluckiest duck. You are way out of your league, tiny duck.
Again, I still want DBZA Krillin to play an Untitled Goose Game. Seriously, it needs to happen.
That would be pretty fun.
Master Riku, what if Gine had crash landed with Goku at Capsule Corp? Well, check out on Tuesday for something that is related to that. Master Riku. You are preempting something on Tuesday that will be very interesting and something we're really keen on. Kenshin491 again. What if Jiro was Bulma's father? Oh, daddy-daughter issues.
Oh, boy.
Daddy issues. Oh, boy.
Bulma Jiro. Doesn't quite sound the same as Bulma Brief.
And not to mention for the fact that he probably wouldn't name his daughter Bulma.
You know the unfortunate thing is that I think that, first off, Bulma would have red hair. That's how I would view it, at least. Bulma would have red hair. Bulma would have probably been one of those young girls who was a bit of an older. What's the term for it? Like, not a bro-con, because I don't think she'd have been into whatever 16's base model was based off of. I don't know if he ever was given a name. But I think that she would have had a lot of issues, and I also think that Jiro would have probably seen any child after his first, especially a girl, because you kind of get this idea that Jiro was probably a bit of an ass, and probably even misogynistic. He probably would have experimented on his daughter, so she would have probably been a lot stronger. Probably, I think you could do something with that. Like, maybe she ran away from the Red Ribbon Army instead of going off to find the Dragon Balls to wish for a lifetime supply of strawberries or for the perfect boyfriend. Instead of doing that, what she did is she wants to find the Dragon Balls because she wants to wish for, like, her humanity back or something. Like, maybe she shows Goku that she's had, like, limbs replaced with cybernetics or something.
Yeah, maybe.
And
something like that. That'd be interesting. So that's a good point. Let's make a note of that.
Yep.
Jonathan Norris, crazy idea for an April Fool's what if. Might have to bend some stuff, but it could be fun to write. What if Bulma got her wish for a perfect boyfriend and a teenage Vegeta appeared?
We get that one a lot.
We get that one a lot, and let's just say it probably wouldn't end well. Because Vegeta would be very confused and probably would blow up the planet. Or at least, scorch everyone around them out of confusion and anger and fear. But let's just say it wouldn't end well.
Even if he didn't, and you want to play along with the concept, there's no guarantee that he would be immediately attracted to the younger Bulma, because the younger Bulma. Yeah, and that's the other thing too. Is it's like, I see Vegeta as being attracted to the older Bulma because older Bulma has her stuff together.
Yes.
Younger Bulma.
Nope.
Younger Bulma was a chore. She was rough to work with.
I feel sorry for Yamcha in a way. Yeah.
back.
Okay, now I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dock decided to die again. It was getting very tired. So yeah,
Technical difficulties.
We've actually gone for 2 hours. So we've gone for 2 hours now. So we need to kind of like let's
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
What if Master Roshi had one for all? He'd keep it to himself because Roshi doesn't like to share. He would keep it to himself. Zero plays games. What if Grandpa Gohan was the 4-star guardian? Well, again, if you check out our video on Tuesday, he will actually be somewhat of a guardian of the 4-star. Yeah, you'll have to wait for that, but we are implementing something like that. Podo, what if Boo joined in the first...
Apparently, people are saying the sound is still out. I've got
Sounds-
audio, but
Oh. No? Well,
Oh.
apparently...
no,
my-
we've got audio now.
Audio's
Maybe it's
fine
just
now.
behind
It's
on
just-
the stream.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah.
should be out now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, it's okay. They're saying it's
Yeah,
good
no,
now.
it's,
Good,
there's,
good.
there's a bit of a
Okay.
lag, that's all.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just the lag. Got it.
It's just lag. But yeah, what if Boo joined in the first time they went to see Zamasu? Zamasu can feel the Kai energy coming from Boo, gets a little nervous, and then Boo says, "If you do anything naughty, me eat you up." Basically, if he's
No.
seen Boo, he would have known about Boo from history. Because they would have been talking about Boo for generations, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Honestly, if the whole Boo thing, like, if it was legitimized that Boo is the way he is because of like the whole the multiple Supreme Kais that existed in the past, right? I think every Kai in every universe would probably know about something like that because they'd have been warned. Like, there's a chance that in your universes something like this might happen. You might want to take steps to avoid it.
yeah, pretty much. You would anticipate that to not make that happen. Dr. YT152, this is the first time I've joined one of these streams. If you want a what if, here's one. What if Piccolo and Kami trained before they fused? So basically, if they did some training together in the hyperbolic time chamber and then fused into Kamikolo, that would make them really
Interesting.
powerful. Like, they might be
Yeah.
able to hold their own against
Semi-perfect cell.
Semi-Perfect Cell. They probably
Yeah.
would have been able. Kamikolo would have been a bit more stronger for a bit longer.
Well, you know what's funny about that is that you say that, but the truth is, semi-perfect Cell probably wouldn't have even become a thing unless Cell managed to get to 18 first, because Piccolo would have fought 17. He would have just basically dominated the fight, and then
Well,
probably
dominated up to a
destroyed
point.
17.
Dominated up to a point, but then he would still tire out.
But that's kind of the thing that I'm getting at, is that he was kind of ahead of the game already, even with the power he was at in canon.
Yeah.
So he would have probably just outright won the fight without it dragging on as long as it did, and him getting tired, which meant Cell would have had to absorb 18 and never would have seen his perfect form.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's definitely fair.
Yeah.
Oscar Maestis Marlin. What if original video game characters were canon, like Soba, Android 21, Charlotte, etc.? Oh, that would definitely make the timeline a bit more dense and
Messy.
complex. Yeah. But in short, Android 21 is the most likely because of her place in the timeline. That could have been an arc that happened, sort of. Again, I'm not saying it should. I'm not saying it should.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's possible. As it's the most plausible. The Charlotte one is just a mess, but that's only because it's for a game. It doesn't have to make logistical sense. It works.
That doesn't mean that Charlotte didn't exist in the past.
No, exactly. They could. They would. They're trying to do this for Dragon Ball Online and Xenoverse 2, bring that into the main timeline. They probably will do the same for Charlotte in some way.
And
if it's
since
just-
one thing we can say, I think, about manga is that we now know that both Gratiar's design are canon. I feel that and the second one comes from Dragon Ball Online. This further emphasizes the fact that Toriyama wants the parts of Dragon Ball Online in the main canon.
Oh yeah, of course, absolutely. Yeah, that goes without saying. He wrote a lot of stuff for Dragon Ball Online. He wants to use it because it will save him a lot of time, because he's already made it. He said, "Oh, I already made this stuff like nearly 10 years ago. Why don't I not use it?" So basically, he's just using it to save time. Quite frankly. Vulcan Kion the Persona King 9999. Two what ifs. What if Piccolo fused Guru, and what if Piccolo trained Videl like Gohan? Basically, if Videl, I don't think Videl would take well to Piccolo's style of training. She would only want to do it with Gohan. But again, if Piccolo was to helping with Gohan, maybe she probably would take it more seriously a lot sooner. And Piccolo fusing with Guru,
I don't think he could,
no, I don't
because Guru is of the Dragon Clan, essentially, a sorcerer type, rather than a fighter type. And we already know that apart from Piccolo and Kami, who can fuse because they used to be one being,
yes,
you can only fuse with members of your same typing, your same clan. Piccolo and Nail were both warrior types, so they were able to fuse together. But I don't think Piccolo and Guru could.
Or if you could, the multiplier would be much lower. It'd be very inefficient.
Yeah, because I don't think Guru was much of a fighter. It might have given Piccolo some kind of Dragon Clan abilities.
Yeah, I think.
But...
I mean, who could create Dragon Balls? But...
No, I don't think so. That's too OP.
Yeah.
I think there could be a thing like with Granted. Yeah, you can fuse with the Dragon Clan Namekian, but it's not as efficient, and you can't make Dragon Balls from it. I think.
Because we already know Piccolo can't make them when he fuses with Kami.
That would be the only way. That would be the only way to make it balanced. As in, with Salmon and Pilina, they're fused with nearly everyone on that Namek. There has to be Dragon Clans and Warrior Clan members. It just means that probably the multiplier would be less potent, as it were.
Yeah.
Okay, Kenshin491. Yeah, Toei, Lovecraftian God Bulma. Lols. I think that's in reference to something from earlier, but absolutely, that's something like that. But Lovecraftian anything in Dragon Ball sounds good to me. Gimper666. What if Chi-Chi never stopped Goku from training Gohan? Sorry if this has already been asked, missed the start. Never stopped Goku from training Gohan.
I think that if they found a balance between the whole work-life issue, because that's the big thing about Gohan's arc, even into Super, they keep beating the same dead horse about Gohan is never able to find the balance, If Chi-Chi hadn't been so hard on him to study in the past, and he had managed earlier in life to find that good balance between academics and physical stuff, like training and stuff, I think he would have been a much more well-rounded, he would be a lot more well-rounded of a person, and he would have a lot less of the psychological hangups that he has in later portions of the series.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, there needs to be compromise, like in any relationship. Absolutely.
I'm actually going to be kind of exploring that idea with future installments in What If Krillin Had a Power-Up, because I'm addressing because Gohan was killed by Frieza in that video. He has a lot more trauma, so they have to address it earlier on than in the actual series proper.
All right, cool. Look forward to that. Victor Bryce, what if Bulma were a man instead at the beginning of Dragon Ball and wanted to wish for strength to get stronger and impress a girl to get a girlfriend? Basically, what if Bulma was a dude? I think he would still be friends with Goku because he's pretty strong. Strength equals what he wants. Hey, this Goku kid's kind of cool, kind of strong. Hey, maybe if I hang around with him, I could get stronger too. Well,
here's the one hang-up is Roshi.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like he would have never given them the Dragon Ball. Like absolutely not.
Yeah, the one hang-up really is Roshi.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Because, unfortunately, a lot of Dragon Ball doesn't go anywhere unless Bulma's there to be sexually abused.
Because it's the mid-'80s. It's the mid-'80s, everybody. It was acceptable back then. I think that's the thing with a lot of this material. You have to look back to when it was made, and then you have to look at it through that perspective. As Helsing would say, it's a matter of perspective, really. But quite frankly, it is true. Vulcan says, what if Raditz and Nappa turned good? Would maybe movie canons possible? We've already covered this, but basically, in short, if they just suddenly wanted to turn good, Vegeta would have offed them for being insubordinate and not being a Saiyan and stuff like that. You have to contend with Vegeta. It's like with the Goku, with the Ginyu Force turning good against Frieza. Frieza would have offed them for insubordination. Same thing would have happened with Vegeta and Nappa and Raditz. And our last one, Kenshin491. What if the other Z fighters learned how to use the Genki Dama in their moves, or use Genki? So basically absorbing natural energy. I think
They should.
Pardon?
They should. I'm saying that.
I mean, they should, but at the same time, I could see that being abused and the Earth being drained of all energy after a certain period of time. They wouldn't. I don't think they'd be able to use it too often. If they used it too often, the Earth would be absorbed of all energy. Quite frankly.
That could be a plot point, Like, I don't see a problem in that.
I mean,
I see a plot point.
Make a note of it.
It becomes a situation where it's like the whole issue with Mako in Final Fantasy VII and draining the life force of the planet.
Yeah, so make a note of it. Okay, and now our real last one, Vulcan comes in again. What if Goku was born as a legendary Super Saiyan? Note, use Bardock, father of Goku and Dragon Ball Super Broly, Goku and Vegeta born same day. Well, technically Goku, if you want to put the term legendary Super Saiyan, he technically is. Technically. But I made a video...
But if you're talking like his potential...
I made a video a couple of years ago about asking who actually deserves the term Legendary Super Saiyan, and I came up with the joke of, hey, it's Baby Pan!
Yeah.
Yes,
Baby Pan is the Legendary Super Saiyan.
She is! She's an infant who's going around flying in the upper atmosphere of the Earth.
Without
and she's
a problem.
super powerful.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
It's amazing.
I mean, then she would be a literal giant freaking baby.
And I mean, if Goku had Broly's power potential, which I think is kind of the real point of this particular question, like if he had the legendary Super Saiyan power potential that Broly had, all it would do is make the series more boring because Goku would be able to solve most problems, and Goku's already the go-to. Yeah, and I mean, one of the things I like about what ifs and asking these questions is finding ways to make the story interesting in unique ways.
My brain just imagined.
Okay, so are we wrapped up for the day?
Yeah, we are wrapped up now. Okay, so basically, we are calling it now because it's nearly 11 o'clock here. Nearly midnight for poor Hav there. So thank you so much, everybody, for your contributions and your questions and solutions. They've been really good, and we've managed to get some good research. So once again, we're going to wrap things up. Thank you so much once again. And be sure to support the channel by spreading the word, sharing all the videos up there with your friends who like what ifs and discussions and stuff, as well as check out merch, all that kind of stuff, become a member, all the stuff. It really does help out a lot in this time of uncertainty on YouTube. You're a very, very helpful constant. So thank you very much, Sophie. Thank you so much, Haverok, for your assistance tonight.
Thank you.
And we shall see you again. Kenshin491 comes back in. What if this wasn't the end of today's What Ifs? Well, unfortunately, you have to go to a different timeline because once we said multiverse theories are... So, take care, everybody. Have a good night, everyone.
They gotta sleep sometime, guys.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yep.